tears below.
Look at these guys, laser focused, both of them taking that stance that we see Life Coach take very often in the moment's thought. Shaman for fr0zen versus Paladin for the Rat. And that's not the only copy of Ragnaros in this deck.
Yep.
You might be asking, how on earth does he have 2 Ragnaros? The Light Lord and the Fire Lord.
2 shins?
How? How is it possible?
So I'm wondering if Brian the Rat Courtade is going to keep a consecration here. He is. You almost certainly want a copy of it at some point in the match.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so good. Even if your opponent's not really doing too much other than amassing totems,
yeah,
the idea of cleaning up just so many different things so that way you can kind of reduce the threat of Flame Tongue Totem is a big deal sometimes.
Yeah, and it's going to roll right into the 5-drop Stampeding Kodo, which gets better and better the more things you clear and the fewer targets you leave up. You can guarantee it hits something valuable.
Yep. His Paladin build is running 2 copies of Humility and 2 copies of Stampeding Kodo as well. 1/1 Totem is going to contest the hero power for the Rat. N'Zoth gets drawn early on. Not a ton of Death Rattles in this deck. We saw a N'Zoth Paladin earlier running Harvest Golem. He was running Twilight Summoner. The Rat really only has a handful of Death Rattles in his deck.
Yeah, got Karin, Sylvanas, and Tyrion at least. We haven't really seen anything besides those 3, but even those alone, great value.
Tell you what, Mana Tide Totem is a great pickup right here. The Rat currently has no way to contest this. And unless, I mean, that's 2 card draws no matter what from that Mana Tide.
Brian the Rat Courtade looks on in disbelief. He's getting 2 for 1.
I mean, this is a really tough spot early on.
Yeah, and we do see, I mean, fr0zen's playing kind of that, we're calling it hybrid shaman, but it's basically mid-range, and mid-range shaman just turns out to be pretty aggressive by nature.
Yeah, I mean, just Tunnel Trog Totem Golem makes your deck aggressive.
Yes, and those are in every shaman deck.
So. They're not my shaman deck.
What's in your shaman deck?
I don't have a shaman deck because I lose with this deck a lot. I don't even know how, I just lose with it.
I'm not sure I'd admit that, but here we go.
Easy clear-ups. I'll take a 4/4 from a 3/1.
Yeah?
That's +1/+3 on a 4/5
body. Is that Evolve?
That is a copy of Evolve in his hand. Yeah. And that's a great pickup for Brian the Rat Courtade, going to be able to clear up this board.
Yeah.
Considering what looks like maybe using his coin here to preserve the 3/1 body.
That is an interesting consideration. You do pass up on maybe coining out Sylvanas, but maybe he's looking at it as probably Kodo. But yeah, I kind of agree with just holding the coin here.
I think it's definitely a better play.
Now you can Humility coin Kodo.
Oh, that's a big one. That will get met pretty easily. Well, at least sometimes. I mean, sometimes that's going to, Abusive Sergeant couples with it. Takes that down. It's going to be Feral Spirits and Totem Golem.
Yeah, I like this a lot more. It's the same amount of power, but
this is one of the reasons Kodo is in here. It's for turns like this one.
Yep, probably the best you're going to get. Maybe you go with Coin Sylvanas, though. But that is a pretty slow option.
Not only that, but in the face of Hex or Earthshock, that one looks a lot less appealing.
Yeah, and I believe this list at least has 1 Hex. I feel like it's 2. But you never know with player personal preference and things like that.
Totem Golem and Abusive Sergeant going to clean this up. And push a little bit of damage here. This board's getting scary.
Yeah, and if Brian the Rat Courtade doesn't deal with it, maybe we'll see that copy of Evolve come into play. Put in some work.
I mean, at this point, you're kind of relegated to Sylvanas or Karin. I mean, he doesn't really have any other appealing options.
Just got to get to N'Zoth.
And he's got to not die the turn after as well.
Getting to N'Zoth implies you're probably not going to die.
I have no time for games.
Yeah, Sylvanas is the play. And I know that there's pressure on Brian the Rat Courtade right now. He is praying for no Hex, praying for no Earthshock. Nerubian Prophet joins the hand of fr0zen. This is a card I've kind of been curious about. If this one's in your opening hand, it gets really efficient.
Yeah, for those that don't know what this card does, it's a new card from the Whispers of the Old God set. It's a 4/4 for 6, and every turn it sits in your hand, its cost goes down by 1. So fr0zen's looking to combo that fact with the Evolve and Master of Evolution in his deck, which go off the base cost. So Evolve will turn that into a 7-drop regardless of what you played it for.
Evolve and Master of Evolution do convert. They change the minion into a random minion that is 1 cost higher than it is. And it's just going to take this opportunity to push. And this honestly might be the kind of turn that fr0zen Courtade needed to see. It was just, you know, a relatively weak turn of development, opening up some options for him.
Maybe he can get to that Forbidden Healing turn to stabilize. It's going to be interesting to see if he knows something about fr0zen's list. It seems like when you're fitting in Evolve, when you're fitting in all these, you know, cards around that strategy, you've got to be giving up burn spells. Yeah. I don't think Lava Burst is in that deck.
I would definitely say it's not.
And so for fr0zen Courtade, he can afford to be a little more liberal with his health total. Of course, he is going to have to stabilize eventually in the face of that Doomhammer.
Looks like he's going to consecrate here. Just take out this 3-1 and 2-1. Not the best value in the world, but again, he's just got to find a way to stabilize his board.
Yep.
I think the Humility and Hero Power is going to look fine here. Looking pretty safe at the moment. Sylvanas is kind of a threat right now. I imagine fr0zen's going to end up being a trade and Doomhammer into that to lead things off.
Yeah. fr0zen Courtade is out of removal essentially though. Got that one Keeper Voldemort to reduce a big target. Maybe if that Flame Wreath Faceless comes out.
You know, kind of looking at the way this board ended up shaping up, I wonder if Karin would have been a better choice than Sylvanas on that turn 6.
I mean, the way this panned out, definitely, but maybe things could have gone differently had fr0zen not been facing down the Sylvanas Death Rattle. Could have just expanded even more.
I don't think Ragnaros is the play this turn, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's looking like Keeper Voldemort, and then something back behind this.
Man.
He could just die here.
Yeah, healing for 16 doesn't feel like it's quite going to get you where you need to go.
Keeper of Voldemort seems like it's the choice on the menu right now.
Maybe Spellbreaker, the 3/3.
Yeah.
Hope you survive.
Heal up.
I guess.
It's looking pretty good to me.
Need to be pretty optimistic here. We can see he's not dead, but Evolve can create some shenanigans.
Yeah, there's always a threat of just nabbing some charge minions.
Quickly.
Spell power.
Magic shall not.
The Eagle Lawyer of the Totem I think would be enough right now.
Yep. He is 2 off.
Oh,
That's it.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points of damage. All he's got to do is spot it at this point.
Yep.
Yep, and right away.
Get in there and fight, maggot.
That's going to do it. fr0zen's going to lock up game number 1 here. Just chipping away until he found that big burst turn. Easy stuff for fr0zen, game number 1.
Yep. fr0zen Courtade falls down in game number 1 once again. Was able to come back the last time.
Trying to figure out, should I or should I not BM him?
Yeah, trying to think if he can evolve BM.
I guess I won't. Trying to look for those cool plays.
I don't know if there's anything that can really screw you over on evolve. I mean, there actually is. So you could get what's the 3-drop hunter card that makes things or no, there's one that when everything takes damage it dies. That's the 7-drop. Acid Maw. You get that, Wild Pyromancer, and Zombie Chow off the totem. You heal your opponent for 5.
You have to get Zombie Chow.
BM gone wrong. That's why you don't BM, kids.
Not too much anyway. Yeah, very decisive victory in game number 1. I mean, that list looked really clean. Nerubian Prophet.
Yeah.
Looks like an excellent choice, honestly. Just, again, if it's in your opening hand,
Well,
one of the things you're gonna run into a problem with.
it was a nice
sometimes.
decoration that game.
Sure, but the thing I'm pointing out here is that Shaman's going to be overloading quite often in a lot of its turns. If you have Nerubian Prophet in your opening hand, then some of those overload turns, it can kind of make up for that development you would normally lose by just being a cheap threat. And that's a big deal. He's not like a small body or anything either. 4/4 is nothing to scoff at.
Especially when you evolve it into a 7-drop.
Yeah, indeed. So game number 2 going to be getting underway. As soon as these guys have chosen, we saw fr0zen Courtade come back from a 0-1 already today.
Pretty convincingly.
Yep.
You asked for it.
Conquest is a format where you don't really get punished for losing a game.
Paladin versus Freeze Mage. And I gotta say, with 2 copies of Forbidden Healing,
And a Spellbreaker.
I gotta feel like
And both rags.
I gotta feel like Brian the Rat
Two
Courtade
rags.
has got a good matchup here.
2 rags?
How can there be 2
There's
rags?
Nazoth. He kept Karen. That card's real good.
He's got a game plan.
Yeah. And for fr0zen, I feel like the game plan's gotta be interesting. I mean, you can't really burn your opponent out unless you just really hope they didn't get either of the heal cards. I guess that's a valid strategy.
I wonder if there's ever a way that Brian the Rat Courtade can not hero power here so that Acolyte of Pain isn't as much of a liability into this.
Yeah. I think Brian the Rat Courtade wants that 1 damage. Strikes me as that type of guy.
Trade 1 damage for 1 card.
You do that 30 times, that's game.
Plus they got Ice Block.
Well, they're gonna draw Fatigue.
That's a good point.
They drew 30.
I see where you're going with that. You're too smart for your own good. You know that, Joggy? Drop Torch cleans up Th3raT very nicely. And I'm curious who the card draws are better for. This is going to be Spellbreaker, pretty easy turn.
Little surprised. Feels like he's gonna have a tough time answering Doomsayers later on.
Is that a big problem for him, though? I mean, you know, if you can force the Doomsayers, then follow up with Nazoth, I think you're in pretty good shape.
That is true. I mean, I'm just thinking, if those Doomsayers don't go off and you get the 2 rags out, that's game.
Yeah. If you get 1 rag out, it's
The rags are both real good.
they're both very good versus Freeze Mage. Yeah, pretty easy consecrate here. Just preserve the 4-2. Start clocking away. Freeze Mage doesn't have a lot of threats in it. So taking any opportunity you can get to get value from a card you normally would get very little from, it's a pretty good deal.
Yep, looks like Arcane Intellect could have opted to get the secrets down while he could, but just needs to find better plays for next turn.
Yeah, but this is why the Rat kept Karen in his opening hand. Brian the Rat Courtade, with all the foresight in the world, knows that this is a big problem very often for Freeze Mage.
Yeah.
Any resilient threat is usually a problem.
It's been a while since we've seen Karen, but still the
back.
same old Yeti.
Welcome back.
Just a simple guy.
I will never disenchant my golden one.
I don't know if I have a golden one. I haven't used it in so long.
I used it the other day to no effect.
Unlucky.
I bet if you innervate him out, he's still really good too. Brian the Rat Courtade, looking at this wild Pyromancer drop. Again, just Freeze Mage, it doesn't really matter what the minions are. As long as the minions can attack, they're usually pretty good.
Yeah, just gotta get him.
Hero power. This is probably going to be coming up on the turns where fr0zen is going to consider using some of his AoE. And his hand is looking so good. I mean, Ice Block, 2 Frost Novas, Blizzard, Emperor Th3raT. He's kind of just got all the answers.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to give Brian the Rat Courtade any draws off this Acolyte quite yet.
Second Forbidden Healing is going to make it really tough for fr0zen to win this game.
He's gonna need answers though.
Yeah, I mean, Archmage could be the difference in this matchup. I mean, that's one where certainly I'm paying very close attention to how it pans out. You know, some of the torch lists, though, they've cut Archmage from the build.
Yeah. I wonder if the new meta really changes how you want to build though. You do have those 2 new slots that open up with the removal of Mad Scientist. I think we've seen a lot more Novice Engineers.
Just ping and pass.
Boom.
That's
Not quite a pop.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, just 2 off. But I'll tell you what, Ragnaros is a big enough threat here.
Yeah.
That cannot be a welcome sight for fr0zen right now. 8 damage to the dome. Sitting at just 2 life. I mean,
Well.
this went from bad to worse.
Well, he's got Novice Engineer, Doomsayer, Frost Nova.
I think you just got to kill the Ragnaros. That is way too threatening.
I don't think you can kill the Ragnaros.
Not without Fireball.
Yeah. I really would have liked to see Novice Frost Nova Doomsayer here.
Yeah,
You
this
give
might
your
have been-
opponent a 1 out of 3 to just completely brick on the Rag hit your 1/1.
Was looking at Ice Lancing this turn, but if Ragnaros hits the Doomsayer, you will have wasted. I'm sorry, you won't have wasted the Ice Lance then. If it hits your face, the Ice Lance is pretty wasted here. But I don't think it matters too much. Th3raT Courtade's just got everything. He doesn't
Yeah.
have to do anything this turn.
I think you just pass, right?
Yeah, no reason to hero power really. Just pass. Go.
I wonder.
Do you give anything away about your hand by just passing?
No. I mean, certainly you give away a little bit, but is it relevant?
Well, he's thinking about what happens if the Rag actually hits the Doomsayer.
Let me think.
So there could be, I mean, Acolyte's not the greatest in this matchup. Maybe just play the Acolyte. What else are you going to do with it?
Maybe.
Move quickly.
All right, what do you got? Face or Doomsayer?
Oh, I'm taking Doomsayer.
Okay,
You
we'll
think
take face.
Th3raT Courtade's lucky?
Take face.
Causing confusion.
Yeah, I'm taking Doomsayer.
All right, Kobe.
Gosh. 1 and 2 in the guesses now. Doomsayer's going to go off. It's going to leave behind Bane Bloodhoof, though. Second Ice Block's got to be a welcome draw. Kind of living on the edge right now.
Yep.
I hope you like my invention.
Ice Lance was, in fact, wasted. Fireball, and looks like second Doomsayer. Nope, just going to be another Ice Block. Yeah, but I mean, I guess this plays around Consecration and Truce over top decks, so makes some sense.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because you know those cards weren't really in the hand. So like you said, you're playing on top decks and top decks only.
You can also just save the Doomsayer for Frost Nova. Now, he's going to use that humility.
Speak to me.
He's gonna dig. Yeah.
Does have Keeper of Uldamon to affect this.
Fortunately for him, it's not going to be a Truce over off the top.
So,
None may
Th3raT
steal
Courtade just going
our
to strengthen his board position a little bit. But fr0zen still has answers to this. He needs to find something better, though. I mean, plenty of card draw, but he needs to find something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, Alexstrasza gets drawn. And we just saw the Rat use his humility. He actually doesn't have an answer to Alexstrasza right now.
The end is coming.
Does have an answer to this Doomsayer though. Drew one of his Kodos.
Yeah, that's a big deal right now.
There's the block pop as well.
That's a huge draw at the moment.
Exactly what Th3raT Courtade needed.
I mean, this is just, he's attacking from every single angle right now. Card advantage, he's got healing, he's got the board, he's got a weapon. What can fr0zen do to win from this spot?
I don't know.
I don't know if there's any card in his deck that can win this game.
Yeah, me neither.
He can live for another turn, but doesn't really do that much. I mean, you're looking at Frost Nova, Frostbolt. Both have to be used this turn, or
What
Blizzard,
to do?
Frostbolt.
What to do?
Give the Rat another card. Not one to give up, though. That's for sure. We've seen both Doomsayers. I wonder if he could just Nazoth here.
Maybe.
Well, we could also just Consecrate off the top. Game number 2 locked up for the Rat. What a dominating performance this Paladin deck has over Freeze Mage. That one's looking awfully good.
Yeah, seems good.
Yeah, I mean, even the Shaman matchup, you know, he was kind of just shy on stuff to do for quite a while, and even then, fr0zen needed to pick up 2 damage to lock up the game that turn.
Yeah.
Where Th3raT Courtade was just going to heal for a bunch in that spot.
So we're down to Warlock Rogue versus Warlock Mage.
And that's Freeze Mage too, so I feel like fr0zen has got a pretty good matchup versus the Warlock and the Rogue.
But what if Th3raT Courtade's got that secret Crazed Alchemist tech?
It's definitely something that's very important.
I don't think he has it.
I don't think he has it either. Crazed Alchemist, great versus Doomsayer, though. Turn into a 7-0. How does that feel, Doomsayer?
He knew the end was coming.
He didn't know it in that regard. We'll see. Mage actually was not victorious in that game. It was Paladin over Mage. Looks like going with fr0zen again, and that's going to be Rogue for the Rat. We've seen Shadow Strike been doing lots of work so far this event, but versus fr0zen, I'm not sure this is a very good card.
Yeah, it's okay against fr0zen, against the Doomsayers. You can throw it down for that 3 damage on face.
Oh, it's 5 damage to face.
Oh yeah, I was thinking 3 mana.
He's going to pitch it away. Dark Iron Skulker. Haven't
That's
seen that one all
probably
day.
not that good in this matchup.
No, I don't know. It's probably just a 4/3 for 5 mana. Let's see how it comes to hand. Easy turns for the Rat. Meanwhile, fr0zen, lots of options in his hand, but none of them are too good. I mean, Arcane Intellect's about the best card in his hand right now. That's a welcome draw. Anytime you can get in any damage, force anything from your opponent, you're pretty happy with it as fr0zen. Just going to continue to cycle. That's usually how this deck works. Just draw cards, draw some more cards until you find the right combination of cards to just kill them.
Yep. And against Rogue, what we've seen from today is if you can beat double Farseer with your burn, there's really nothing else they can do.
Yeah. I mean, no Loatheb to interact with spells at all. It means they're usually just kind of dead in the water. fr0zen even just got a Frostbolt on this 3/3. Kind of interesting. I'm thinking maybe even Conceal Van Cleave here. I mean, Conceal's not that good in this matchup. Earthwing Farseer, on the other hand, it's a pretty good minion.
I mean, he got the 2 healing.
Yeah. Let's do some work versus Conocold, though. That's a good, interesting one to know. I'm just going to ping his own Acolyte here. Pick up 2 draws over the long haul, at least.
Yeah, play around that Dark Iron Skulker.
It was a big deal right here. Master level plays from fr0zen. He knew the Skulker was coming.
Yep.
I mean, that option's basically taken away now. Azure Drake and Punch Face. It's a slow and steady build for Rogue. They do need to find ways to actually piece together a lot of damage. I mean, Th3raT Courtade's hand right now, it's just basically a bunch of minions. It's not a good hand.
He's got the Conceal.
I don't think that really makes much of a difference this game.
You'd be surprised.
I probably would be. Frostnova Doomsayer not looking like the worst, but would be met with that Shadow Strike, and a spell damage on that would mean that Doomsayer's dead.
Yeah.
Needs to think deeply about this turn. I just look at their focus. It's kind of making me nervous.
I'm just focusing on their focus.
I'm focused on your focus, on their focus.
Sick.
Yep, Shadow Strike and SI7 Agent or Dagger will
Or Fan.
end the life of that. Yeah, Fan's looking really good too. That Spell Power Fan. He's going to take out the Acolyte too. So 7 power on board for Th3raT Courtade. And a Gadgetzan Auctioneer in the hand. Suddenly that Conceal's looking a lot better.
You know, Gadgetzan Auctioneer didn't have the best morning today, but he's been doing better.
He's come correct in the later stages.
Yeah. Except for some players, he's just not come at all.
Rip Super JJ. Even Preparation, I think he's going to end up saving that though. I don't know though. I mean, this hand is pretty high and dry. He might be inclined to just prep here just to get the card draw.
Yeah.
You know, normally you look at a hand with SI 7 Agent, Van Cleef, Tomb Pillager. He's got lots of options, but maybe he's got something else on his mind. I mean, Tomb Pillager, SI 7 Agent isn't looking too bad either.
Yeah, I mean, unless fr0zen has the one copy of Flame Strike that most freeze mages run, this really doesn't get punished.
I think that's something that Th3raT's thinking about too, is if this board gets Flame Striked, it means that Auctioneer Conceal is sticking.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. I mean, that's a huge reload to a Flame Strike. But is considering just using Dagger here to take out this Blood Mage. Or even prep Van Cleef Conceal. It's a lot of damage still. Yep. I'm curious about the Dagger between the SI7 Agent. Like, what a difference it is. I mean, the utility of the 2 damage, how important is it at this point? Ooh, Th3raT gets drawn. That's a major deal.
Yeah, and he's cleaning up the entire board. He doesn't quite have an ice block down yet, so he might, you know, have to get that down next turn.
Here we go, get ready. This is gonna be the big turn for th3raT Courtade. Auctioneer, coin. We're likely to see a preparation here. I think it's likely into Van Cleef as well.
Yeah.
Yep, it's gonna be Van Cleef and conceal this. This is gonna threaten some major damage on fr0zen's side. He does have Frost Nova and Ice Block. That might be enough to do this. I mean, he needs some more damage in hand, though. I mean, his hand is thin right now.
Yeah. Only the Frostbolt there.
It's not going to be enough, though. I mean, Eviscerate and SI7 Agent can clean up the Doomsayer. I mean, I imagine this is going to be Ice Block, Frost Nova, Doomsayer. This is about as good as the Freeze Mage turns get.
Yep. And th3raT Courtade does have an answer to this, so game's going to go on, and like you talked about, fr0zen's hand is light on damage. He's got the Alex, but he does not have the damage.
And that block's going to get popped very soon. You know,
Yeah.
Th3raT may not even be usable next turn unless he just draws a burn spell.
When you leave up a Gadget and Auctioneer, bad things can happen.
I mean, I think not even going to eviscerate here. He's just going to go ahead, dagger up, says I've drawn enough cards. I have enough damage. Can you handle this?
Well, Blizzard is a start.
Yep, I mean, Blizzard Arcane Intellect is about as good as this turn was going to get, I think.
Still doesn't deal with the Gadget Zan, but it does kind of stop the damage from rolling in, and there is an Ice Block up
Ooh,
and
Flame
a Flame Strike.
I mean, is there a possibility that th3raT Courtade could just draw too many cards as well?
I'm just thinking, is there a possibility he won't have enough inevitability in the game? Maybe fr0zen can just kill all his stuff.
That's definitely a possibility. I mean, it's happened before. That's the Shadow Step Toxin. 1 mana, return a friendly minion to your hand. It costs 2 less afterwards. I mean, is he looking at a bigger Van Cleef now?
Not this turn. I mean, he could. I mean, I guess your opponent has used those Frost Novas, has used those Blizzards.
That Van Cleef's going to get really big.
You could make it really big.
Yeah, I'm not going to go for it. Thinking about this one, though. Well, he's kind of running out of time at this point, so.
Yeah.
It's so important to be decisive with Miracle Road. You really need to understand the situations you're in. It just requires so much practice.
I think he knew he wanted to do this. Just did it a little earlier. Or did it a little later than we thought.
Yep. He's going to add the SI7 Agent back down as well, so down to 22.
Yeah, Flame Strike doesn't clear this Edwin. So he might have to Frostbolt too, and then...
I honestly think he's on the plan you mentioned. I think he's on the kill everything that th3raT Courtade has planned.
And that is indeed kind of what's signified by this play. I mean, the card count can't be that high for th3raT Courtade.
I mean, he's definitely running out of cards. That is an issue at the moment. Tomb Pillager, a welcome sight. Just, at this point, just anything that sticks to the board is about the best draw he's going to get. I mean, maybe there's some argument for for the Dark Iron Skulker this turn, but 3 damage. Let's go.
Just gonna use it.
Giddy up. Doesn't want to draw a card off, but he's drawn too many cards.
Who needs cards? Well, if Th3raT were used, it would be a block pop from Th3raT Courtade. Has to be an ice barrier here, or maybe a fireball to remove, but
What to do? What to
I mean,
do?
for fr0zen, depending on how much is left in your deck, do you ever get impatient here and just Alex them?
I don't know.
Hope you draw Pyro and win?
I mean, Th3raT Courtade, he's got plenty left in his deck. He's got 7 cards left.
Yeah, that's
The
enough.
fact that he's slowed down now makes a big difference. It is just going to be Emperor
Emperor Ice Barrier.
Ice Barrier.
So
So
no pop.
26 life, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Only 19 damage available. Shadow Strike answers the Emperor very nicely, though.
Yeah, save that sap for Th3raT maybe. Of course, you want to be a little careful about sapping it because you can just then throw it back down to heal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some considerations for the Skulker here.
So many options.
Maybe he's even considering drawing. I mean, there's a lot at stake in this game right now, and every single card is going to matter. He is going to draw.
Th3raT Courtade takes this auctioneer
Well,
some of the time, every time. Every time.
yeah, I think I like the card draw right now. I mean, he's still pretty safe with 5 cards left in the deck at this moment. Journey Below.
There's an interesting card. I know this is a one-of in his list, I believe. And that can get you some serious gas in the late game.
Yeah.
I mean, a New Barak is a rogue death rattle
Yeah.
card, and that card does not go away.
And you will discover rogue cards more often than you discover neutral cards.
Yeah.
Has that built-in effect, and then a Cold Blood onto this Tomb Pillager. I mean, the damage is very real right now. And that's a Forgotten Torch, so 9 damage in hand. I mean, this is pretty much it for fr0zen. He has got to find a way to kill
Got a lot of draws,
Th3raT Courtade.
and he's got time to get them.
He's like a deadly poison. Gadgetzan Auctioneer, almost a liability right here.
This game feels like a straight 50-50. I mean, I don't know how many cards fr0zen has left, but he's got Pyroblast, he's got the Roaring Torch. He's gonna throw another Roaring Torch in there. He's got 2 turns to find all this because of the second block. 8 cards left.
Now, we've only seen 1 Earthen Ring Farseer from Th3raT Courtade so far.
Yeah.
I mean, does he have a second one?
Would
in
the
that
second one
deck?
save him, though? I don't think it would because of the extra ping that fr0zen was able to get in.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be Phantom Knives right here.
Yep, so
I wonder
metering his
I wonder
draw
if
a
Prep
lot.
Phantom Knives would have made a difference there.
2 cards left now. Th3raT Courtade only going to be able to draw 1 of them, so he's not guaranteed to get to the bottom of his deck, but
Too soon.
it's probably good enough. And the other thing to question, what death rattle cards could save him?
I don't know if there's a Death Rattle that heals. I
Huckster,
can't think of
Huckster Backstab Ice Block.
It's definitely possible.
And that, it's not really a blank. You certainly need to fire off that fireball.
You certainly need to use.
Yeah,
the
he's going to go
Forgotten
for
Torch.
this.
Yep, I like this play best. I mean, this puts an extra Roaring Torch in your deck.
Yeah, there was some merits to pinging the Acolyte, I think, because then you can draw on the Pyro more reliably. That's if he has Pyro, which I think he would, but
Snap, I mean, it's got to be Discover right
here
now.
we go. What can we get?
Those aren't good. That's Skeleton Knight, Blood Mage Thanos, South Sea Squid
Maybe
Face.
Thalnos draws him into that, nope.
Well, I think that means 1 copy of Earthen Ring Farseer. It's going to come down to a draw here for fr0zen. He needs to pick up a burn spell, and a burn spell only, and he's got 2 draws to do it. But once he's used 5 mana, Pyroblast won't be enough. Ice Lance won't work in this situation.
I think he has 2 outs at it. 3?
He might have more than that. He shakes his head,
yeah.
and that's going to do it. Forgotten Torch is just enough, and all Th3raT Courtade can do is smile and shake his head. fr0zen locks up game number 3. What a close one.
Wow. That's definitely one of those games you're thinking right after, you're like, man, could I have done something better?
Yeah, I mean,
You got to put that behind you, but because it doesn't matter if you could have, if we're going on to game 4.
Yeah, that's about as close as it's going to get.
But yeah,
And honestly, fr0zen's plan in that one just to continue clearing minions over and over. kind of worked out really well. I mean, it just bought him so much time.
Yeah, if he played Pyroblast in his deck, he had a 4 out of 8 for the first card, and then a 3 out of 7 for the second card. So pretty good odds to win.
I mean, that's about 75%.
Yeah, a little under. So
pretty darn good stuff. So the Rat still needs wins with Rogue and with Warlock. fr0zen needs to pick up a single win with Warlock to move on and stay alive in this tournament.
now Brian the Rat Courtade's decks. I mean, he's got the mirror at the very worst, but how good is this Rogue deck going to fare against it?
Well, no coin, so I imagine Van Cleef is likely to hit the bin here.
Yeah.
And do you keep Shadow Strike? I mean, it's such a good answer to the Councilman, but it's an okay answer to the Imp King boss as well. But
At the end of the day, it is just a 1-for-1 though. Maybe you keep this whole hand and you rip 2 preps.
just 10-10 up.
Prep, good game.
Ooh, that's not the order you want to use that in.
Oh,
You want to go
unlucky.
Prep Shadow Strike, Prep Fan.
And this is why I'm not a Rogue player.
Jockey's like 6 discounts, sweet. Prep game is indeed what it would be at that point.
I'd still go for it,
I would too, but
you'd concede
I would out of embarrassment.
out of shame.
Because
yeah.
I'm a regal man.
And that's going to be the play for Brian the Rat Courtade.
He keeps-
Going to hold on to it. There's preparation number 1.
God, I love
I
Hearthstone.
love Hearthstone. Here we go. Oh.
Hey, he's got one more turn.
Yeah.
The second Shadow Strike was in case he needed to prep Shadow Strike, prep Shadow Strike.
Okay.
Not in case.
Do you tank this?
Yeah, I mean you need to feign at least a little bit, right?
That kind of shows fan, but then I'm just looking at what's going to happen. And if fr0zen goes coin, Darkshire Councilman, then maybe that attack could be really nice to clean up the whole board. But at the same time, just leaving around a 3/2 is not that bad.
He's just gonna draw prep right here.
Here
Just
we
gonna
go.
end it.
Let's go, Brian.
You know what? Prep Shadow Strike Van Cleef.
Why not just prep ban and get the other prep?
Because then you can't Shadow Strike.
You just sound.
Yeah, I think a 6/6 good enough.
Yeah, good on Brian the Rat Courtade to recognize that this is a matchup you really are going to want that Van Cleef in. He took the risk, he kept all of those spells in the Van Cleef, and he drew the prep.
I mean, certainly very different than I would have played it. I would have mulliganed that Van Cleef.
Protects me.
I told you, man. It might be a good thing he didn't draw the second prep, because what if he went prep?
Get in there and fight, maggot.
I don't think that he's making that play very often.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
This fan's going to be real good, I tell you what.
Yeah, I'm curious how fr0zen's going to choose to attack here. I mean, if he doesn't attack this Van Cleef, this is going to look really bad for
It's
him.
going to be ugly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't be too proactive about your trades. This is going to work out really well for him.
Yeah.
But
MSi 7 agent looking pretty good as well.
yeah, I think this is still going to be the fan.
Still, I still think that Brian the Rat Courtade's favored here.
Yeah.
Even in the face of that flame imp basically taking out the that is a very significant draw right now. I mean,
Whoa.
that represents 6 extra damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm concealing every 1 mana 6 damage.
Oh,
That's like a rock
that
biter and a
conceal-
doom hammer.
That conceal sucks, unless you cast it right now.
Yeah. And this is a big turn. I mean,
Oh man, second fan would just be lights out. I almost don't even want to talk about it. I just feel icky. All right, he didn't get it.
still not bad. Do you ever consider eviscerating a minion here?
I consider sapping. Do those tentacles cost 0 or 1?
I think they cost, I would imagine they cost 0.
So would I. You can always scroll over to find out.
Fits the theme of that card as well.
I think it should cost all your mana.
Wow, it actually does cost
Oh, it's
1.
called an icky tentacle too. Nice to know, nice to know.
Leperno, you will not be forgotten. How about just dagger up in MSi 7 agent?
Yeah, it's definitely the not too all-in play, which is
The light
acceptable.
And
protects
he's kind of closing in on the damage too. I mean, he's getting really close, but his hand is about to be pittance.
Yeah, we're about to see some trades come in, I would imagine, for fr0zen. Nope. Gonna go aggressive
Yep.
with this.
I like the attacks here.
Does need to put on some counter pressure.
That's a good draw.
I have to imagine Sap's coming down on the 2/2 Ardent
Yeah.
Squire.
I think it's sap attack and heal up your your SI7 agent here.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, fr0zen Ring, a lot of flexibility in this card. I catch a glimpse of why it's so important to this build.
Yeah, now he is kind of leaving out some other things like Undercity Huckster, which I believe is an incredible card.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love Huckster.
Not quite able to get Gormok
Just
off.
so close.
Yeah, Gormok could have been really insane here.
Yeah, will life tap. Direwolf Alpha's not looking bad either.
Direwolf is a great pickup. It's 66% of the time he's going to be able to clear up this board.
And that's
There
going to do it.
is. Yep, we do see the trades. That's a good pickup, though.
Definitely is. Shadow Strike's got to come down to the Knife Juggler, right?
I think so. I mean, Abyss is so important right now for you.
Yeah, just start getting in 1 point of damage.
Yeah, you
after
get that
another.
1 damage.
Yep. Well, we got a race on our hands. And honestly, fr0zen's life tap is kind of becoming a liability.
Yeah,
At this point, I mean-
Gormok, not an insane card. 1 mana 1/1's not insane either. Probably gonna need to pick up more taunts. Look like Imp
Dark,
Gang.
Look like Dark Peddler to me. Knife Juggler.
We saw the 2.
Yeah.
Still can't get that Gormok off. I mean, you just played as a 4/4 now. He needs to hit both of these juggles to avoid taking this 5. It's not quite dead.
Well, that's
Oh
one.
my gosh. Oh. Here we go.
Eviscerate, eviscerate.
That's
6,
game.
7, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. Brian the Rat Courtade forces game number 5 on the back of a massive top deck at the end. Wow, what a series between these two. These games have been so close.
Yeah. I mean, we called it coming in that this was going to be a good series, and these games could have gone either way.
They are delivering right now. So Brian the Rat Courtade's going to be left with Warlock, and fr0zen's going to be left with Warlock. We've been seeing this game 5 take place quite a bit
jeez.
too.
You know, I hope that this one's as close as we've been seeing, but the Zoomiers we've seen today have been
not
blowouts one way or the other.
And they have not been close
Yeah.
in the Warlock mirrors. One player has taken complete control and run away with the game so easily.
Yep. Players are all kind of on this very similar 27, 28 similar card list, and whoever opens better tends to be faring very well.
Yeah, this is match point for both of these players. The winner moves on. The loser's tournament comes to an end right here.
So much on the line.
Possessed Villager open and turn 2 Imp King boss and a Sea Giant
No.
hand. I mean, these have been the kinds of hands.
I'm not sure though. That hand looks a little soft to me. I mean, the Imp King boss is going to help tremendously to come back, but he really needs a 1-drop. And he's gonna whiff, so that's just a pass.
That is not good news
And
for
that,
him.
I mean, it's not quite lights out, but when you give your opponent the initiative like this,
Yeah, pretty poor Peddler.
yeah, Reliquary Seeker, it's not really greedy considering how bad the other options were, but if you're getting that card off, chances are you would have won the game anyway.
So I imagine we're looking at a couple trades here for the Rat. With that pickup, definitely.
Yeah, he can go 1-1, lead into his Defender of Argus turn, no problems, no questions asked. I mean,
Just a matter of how you set up the minions that way you get the best Defender of Argus.
And Brian the Rat Courtade, he's played some Zoo in his day.
Oh yeah.
And he's a stickler for positioning. Like, this is something, I mean, he does it pretty quick, but there's definitely reasons for why each of these minions are where they are.
Forbidden Rituals. The hand gets heavier
Uh-oh.
for fr0zen. I mean, that's a card that costs all your
Oh,
mana.
man.
This Defender of Argus is going to be brutal.
He's going to get so many valuable trades.
Oh my. I don't even know if Defender of Argus is a play anymore.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at this like, man.
Like, Sea Giant is going to end the game. That's 8 damage a turn.
Do you play the 1/1?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so as well. You really just need that extra attacking power.
Yep, use the Possessed Villager to trade, use the Arch Squire to trade, use the Voidwalker
None
to
of
trade.
these Zoolists are playing answers to Sea Giants. The best we can see from fr0zen would be a Dark Peddler into Corruption. And that is a slow response.
Oh, this game.
A stranglehold on this board for Brian the Rat Courtade.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to go for the Peddler here.
Oh, God.
We'll find out what the option is in just a second. It's Mortal Coil, so maybe there's a miracle draw left in his deck that can help get him out of this, but Councilman's going to be no help.
Yep, and I have to feel like it's going to be a slow grind out here. Lots of value trades going to come in,
Yeah, but
but
that's
also
the first big
8
one.
swing into face.
9 swinging if you count that 1-1. Down to 15 is fr0zen. The Noose Titans.
Yep, it's not quite lethal on board. Gotta throw out the Forbidden Ritual.
Oh, the Sea Giant costs 1 mana. Oh, he's so close.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's
Th3raT
game.
Alpha's enough damage. Brian the
Brian
Rat Courtade's gonna lock up game number 5 and advance on as fr0zen's tournament life comes to an end. What a series between these two.
Yeah, some crazy close games there, some